Most people think assumption is something you do in your head. They think it's affirmations, or visualization, or trying to stay positive no matter what's happening. But assumption actually shows up in behavior, long before it ever shows up in words. And once you understand that, manifestation becomes a lot less exhausting, because assumption is not about forcing optimism, it's about what you naturally expect. Without effort, without performance, without emotional management, look at how you behave around things you're already certain about. Not the things you hope will work out, but the things that you expect to work out. You don't hype yourself up beforehand. You don't repeat mantras to stay calm. You don't rehearse what you'll do if it fails. You just move normally. That normalcy is assumption, and assumption is revealed more in what you don't do than in what you do. You don't check repeatedly. You don't refresh your phone for updates. You don't mentally replay conversations. You don't brace yourself for disappointment. You don't need to convince yourself. And that's important, because the moment you're trying to convince yourself, you've already revealed that assumption isn't present yet. Forcing positivity is usually fear in disguise. It's the mind saying, if I don't stay upbeat, something bad might happen. So positivity becomes a form of control. But real assumption doesn't need maintenance. It doesn't need motivation. It doesn't need reminders. It doesn't need emotional effort. It's quiet. It's subtle. It's how you act when something already feels settled. This is why pretending to feel good often backfires. Your words might sound positive, but your behavior still signals uncertainty. You might say, everything is working out, while checking your phone every few minutes. You might say, I trust the process, while emotionally preparing for disappointment. You might tell yourself, I'm calm, while your body is still bracing for impact. The body doesn't respond to language. It responds to expectation, and expectation shows up in behavior. This is where most people misunderstand Neville Goddard's teachings. Assumption is not mental effort. It's behavioral evidence. It's what you do when no one is watching, including yourself. If you assume something is handled, you stop hovering over it. You stop mentally revisiting it. You stop explaining it to yourself. You stop seeking reassurance. Not because you forced yourself to stop, but because the need simply isn't there anymore. This is why you can tell when someone is truly in the state. They're calmer, not excited. They're grounded, not euphoric. They're present, not emotionally charged. They respond to life instead of reacting to it. And that distinction matters. Forcing positivity is reactive. Assumption is settled. You don't need to feel happy all the time. You don't need to be high vibration. You don't need to smile through stress. You don't even need to feel confident. You just need to notice one thing. How do you move when you expect something to work out? That's your baseline. And the goal is not to imitate that behavior artificially. The goal is to let your internal state settle enough that the behavior changes on its own. When assumption is real, your life becomes simpler. You think less. You explain less. You justify less. You trust more without trying to. And that's how assumption shows up in daily behavior, not as forced positivity, but as emotional neutrality, paired with quiet certainty. And when that becomes your default state, reality has no choice but to align. Subscribe and enter your manifesting state.